Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Music Buds podcast. This is episode number 8, and my name is Henry. No Chloe this time around, but we have something very special for you. We are joined by 2 members of the rock band Potty Mouth. Firstly, the lead singer and guitarist Abby Weems.
What's up?
Hello. And then on the bass guitar, Ally Einbinder.
Yeah, that's little Miss Clackamas to you.
And the crowd goes wild.
Well, y'all, thank you so much for doing this. It's so great to meet you. It means a lot for you to be here.
Yeah,
thanks
totally.
for having us.
Of course. Well, I guess just pleasantries, just how are y'all doing? How's life in California these days?
Life in California,
It's hot.
yeah, it's really fucking hot. Wait, is it okay for me to swear?
Oh, this? Totally. Yeah, go for it.
Checking.
Yeah, you're good.
We're in the middle of a heat wave, but I just moved into this amazing house at the beginning of the month, and I now am neighbors with both of my bandmates, Abby and Victoria.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And the other amazing part is the house has a basement, which we haven't had since we lived in Massachusetts. So we can actually practice in the basement.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
So we've been working on getting rugs for it and trying to soundproof it, but we moved all of our gear down there and we're pretty much set up to go. It's going to be super exciting because we haven't actually played music as a band together since March.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does that feel, I maybe answered my own question. Does that feel weird not doing that?
Yeah, it sucks.
I think it was a lot harder at first. When the pandemic started, we had so many tours canceled, and it just all of a sudden, our whole life's purpose was just gone.
Yeah.
So I know for me personally, I felt so I had an existential crisis beginning of all this.
Yeah.
But now at this point, it's almost nice to have had space from music and be able to come back to it and really enjoy it again instead of it just feeling so much like a job a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely stoked to have a practice space now, and we're gonna put a sick couch down there.
Oh yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I guess first of all, just as I know you've had to do it a lot before, but just maybe a little more of an introduction to Potty Mouth, maybe how y'all got started, just to lay the groundwork.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Potty Mouth started in 2011 in Western Massachusetts. I had just graduated this is Ally, I had just graduated from Smith College in Northampton, and Victoria was also a student there, so I knew her. And then our original guitarist, Phoebe, was a student there, and essentially Phoebe just said to me one day, hey, I think it's really cool that you just started playing bass and joined a band. I was playing in my first band at the time, and she was like, I really want to play guitar in a band. I know this girl, Abby Weems, who really wants to play guitar in a band too. And we already knew Victoria from going to school with her, knew she was a sick drummer, and we just got together one day and decided to see what would happen. Actually, our first practice was the day I first officially met Abby. Before that, I had only ever seen her around at shows because she was dating a kid who was in a band that my first band would play a lot of shows with.
Yeah.
So one time we actually played a show at the library that Abby's mom works at.
Nice.
I think that was the first time I ever saw Abby, and I thought she was so cool looking, and I thought it was so cool that she was still in high school and had already reached that level of coolness.
I was a punk.
Heck yeah, man. Go for it.
I remember seeing Ally's band a few times, and then, but yeah, we never actually met until our first band practice. and which is just so funny to think about now, because I was like 17. Like what, what were these like college students like doing, like hanging out with like a high school student? But we, we were all just learning, or Victoria wasn't. Victoria was already like good at drums, but we were all sort of just like learning our instruments as we went along. And so it like didn't really matter what our ages were, because we were all just like coming at it from the same place of like, oh, we're just doing this for fun. Like we just want to learn how to be in a band in a place where we don't feel self-conscious, or like we have to like prove something to other people who are already experienced musicians. So yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to make that sound like it could get creepy for a second.
No, you're good. This is a safe place. Well, how does, even not with just the pandemic, but like what is the current scene, for lack of a better word, like the punk and pop rock scene? Like what has it been like since you started, and has it changed all that much since?
Oh, well, I mean, scenes are so geographically specific. So,
yeah,
I mean, the scene that we came into as a band in Western Mass is a very small, kind of tight-knit DIY punk scene where people, our first show was a basement show.
Most people knew each other from college.
Yeah, and like when a new local band starts, like everyone knows who they are, and everyone's pretty excited to see them play for the first time. And so we had it was like a good place to like start as a band in terms of those aspects, because it was like relatively easy for us to make a name for ourselves within that community. And then also we are in such close proximity to Boston, New York, even Philly, places in Connecticut, that it was like super easy for us to do these one-off shows out of town, which was, I think, pretty crucial for our like growth as a band. That's something that, for instance, in LA isn't really possible, because LA, I mean, you have like San Diego and like other smaller towns like in Southern California, Long Beach, not to say that that's super small, but like it's not the same as like being able to easily cross state lines and, play a show in a completely different city for a completely different audience.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, LA in general, when we moved out here, it was sort of like, it was a big difference from Western Mass, because we went from a place where there was a very distinct, small, defined community within like punk DIY or whatever. But then LA, it's like
very career oriented.
It's very career oriented. It's less about the community, and there's such an overwhelming number of bands and people who do music and who do it well that it's really hard to sift through it all and like find your people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've been here for over 4 years now, and I feel like we're just starting to do that. But there are also like a lot of East Coast transplants here like us. Like one of my new roommates in this house that I live in now is Colleen Green, and she's originally from Massachusetts and has been living in LA for a while. So it's always comforting to find, friends like that, because it's like just
came from the same roots.
Yeah. Understand the difference.
Yeah. Well, I guess kind of bouncing off that, has it always, like, is the community base of it continuing to grow, or have there been times where you felt isolated and you felt like you can't really grow or reach out to people when you've made the move?
In LA?
Yeah.
I feel like it's both at the same time. Like, I feel like we have certain people who have our backs, and like always, like our friend Danny, who, he's always down to just like meet up with me to work on a song idea that I have. And like, there are so many people who want to make music videos and, or do your album art or like a show flyer. So in like a way, it's a very like reciprocal, community, but then at the same time, I feel like it also is very like, I don't want to say cliquey, but people just have their groups of like, depending on what neighborhood they live in, and if, you know, you grew up in LA or like, yeah, whatever. So you could probably say that about any city.
Sure.
But yeah, it's definitely like, just like dynamic out in LA.
Yeah, I'm in a town where like everybody knows everybody, but that's kind of like both good and bad.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I'm in Hillsborough right now, which is it's about 2 hours from Charlotte.
Okay.
Oh.
Damn, so you got the RNC happening this week.
Yes. It's been quite a time the last couple of months, but that's really the case with everybody, you know. Well, talking about your work more specifically, so Hellbent was the debut album, and then you had Snafu, which was the second. Is there something, having been like in the heat of the moment, for lack of a better term, of making that debut album that you had in your mind going into the second? Like, not something you would improve on necessarily, but like something that you maybe had learned from one to the next?
Honestly, the first album was just like the first 10 songs that we wrote as a band. It's like, we got to put something out. And so
they weren't necessarily the first 10 because we had Sun Damage before that and our demo tape. But yeah, the only other 10 songs we had.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We have 10 songs. That's an album. Okay, we'll just put them out. And then, you know, like we put out another EP after that. But we had like a huge stockpile of songs just like building up. And so going into Snafu, we were able to like pick the best songs that we thought would like go together as, you know, a whole like collective album, and the best songs that like, you know, we wanted to give like variety, but also have it be kind of like the same energy. And yeah, so Snafu was definitely like, we were super anal about orchestrating them. So I feel like in a way the two albums are like opposite processes.
Well, also there was a 6-year gap between those two albums. So like just naturally the band grew as individual musicians so much during that time. I mean, as Abby said earlier, when we started the band, like she and I were both very new to our instruments still. And then like
true.
2013, we were also recorded Hellbent without even knowing who was going to put it out. We didn't have a label or anything. We didn't know how far, if at all, it would go. And so there's just this, you know, we are still a punk band, not to say not punk, but like we were very much a DIY punky band back then, where we were, you know, just recording that at like,
we were a ragtag group.
Yeah, we were recording our friends like DIY home recording studio, and we weren't really thinking that critically about the production. We weren't thinking like that was recorded live, so we're all playing our instruments at the same time in those songs, whereas Snafu, all the instruments are individually tracked.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I mean, that's just a big difference right there. And yes, Snafu in general was so much more meticulous, and that is related to other things like the management we were working with at the time and the producer. So it ended up being like, you know, this super slick thing, and
very polished.
Yeah, and like if anything, like future music will not be that polished.
Yeah, we want to regress.
We want to regress. We want to go back to our roots. We want things to sound dirtier, a little bit more fucked up. So that is what you can expect for the future.
Yeah. Well, now talking about Snafu, so there, and I think that's what I heard of y'all's first, and like in the best way, it feels very vulnerable. Like there's a lot of emotion right there on the surface, and that really comes through and like hits you immediately, as well as it being catchy. Like you have that kind of just instant kick right into those songs. And is releasing an album like that maybe even more so than Hellbent, is it scary releasing something like that has all of those emotions built up in it? Or is it like therapy maybe? Or
I think, I mean, writing songs is definitely therapeutic for me, but at the same time, that was like a time in our band's trajectory where we like were being pursued by like, or we had, you know, just been on Atlantic Records and we were being pursued by these people and working with this management. And it just, I definitely felt pressure to make songs that were like perfectly epic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For lack of a better word.
Hence smash hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I went through the fucking boot camp of songwriting. Like, when Atlantic was thinking about signing us, they like flew me out to Sweden for a month to work with songwriters and like,
jeez.
Yeah. And I wrote 22 while I was there because I literally turned 22 in Sweden.
Gotcha.
In this like tiny studio apartment all by myself. And I was like so fucking sad and alone.
Right.
I wrote 22, which is like a really fun song.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I felt like I went through the ringer, and then Snafu is like the product of that, like going through songwriting boot camp. So it was like, it's definitely emotional because it was an intense time in my life, but also at the same time, it was like, I felt pressure to make it like even more than that.
And there was pressure. I mean, there was very real pressure. It was the experience of being signed to a major label. Like you can imagine, we had an A&R person breathing down our neck who had the final authority on whether or not a song was good enough. Like, of course, that's like...
I feel traumatized,
honestly.
I would.
To clarify, the final formation... So we ended that relationship before Snafu. So Snafu is still like our choice of songs. Like it's still what the songs we wanted.
And we love all the songs, and like it's an amazing representation of our band.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But yeah, it just like getting to that point, we went through some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and one thing that struck me about it and that was so immediately catchy is it's one of the most, and again, in the best way, it's one of the most easy repeat listens. It's like,
that's a good compliment.
You know, like I'll go out walking and I'll play it through and then it ends. I'm like, oh wait, I got to listen to that over again and just kind of extend the walk.
Yeah, get us those streams.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, now talking about, I guess what you're touching on, Abby, with the songwriting location, does it usually come from like an unexpected place like that where, you know, you wrote 22 in a very strange place? Is there like a place where inspiration comes frequently? One thing is that it's so annoying. I get so much inspiration while I'm driving. Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's so annoying because then I can't like record anything or like, and then by the time I get home, I just forget all of it. Like I have terrible memory. But yeah, so like sometimes I'll just be like driving and turn on the voice memo and be like, but then there are other times where I just like, you know, I'll be like in the mood to just play music and like write something, and then I'll like actually sit down and commit to it. And then other times I'll just sit up in the middle of the night and be like, there's a song like flowing out of me right now. Yeah. So yeah, those are my 3 modes. Gotcha.
Well, how about in talking about the other bands that you've gotten to know or maybe even toured with, is there anyone in particular who you're so excited to be also growing, like see them grow and knowing them in that process?
I mean, there are so many bands. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, so like our song Long Haul from the 2015 EP is like essentially about like these long distance friendships that we've made from being in a band, and how you just feel close with these people, like because your lives are so similar, even though you only see them like maybe once or twice a year.
Mm.
And like when I think about bands I'm proud of, I don't know, like you're talking about like honestly like almost a decade's worth of time of a band.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
we've so many of our peers grow and catapult to success. Like, Jesus, I don't know. First person for me that comes to mind who I feel so proud of, I guess, is Mitski. I haven't like actually talked to her in a couple or a few years, but like I remember going to one of her shows really early on in Western Mass. It was a house show, and it was like right before her Bury Me at Makeout Creek record came out. I think that was 2014.
Yeah.
And when I got to the house show, I was the only person at the house who didn't live there. It was so intimate. It was like no one knew who she was yet, and but there she was, like just playing an acoustic guitar and piano in this living room, and it was so beautiful. And I like introduced myself to her, and we became friends after that. And then I think a couple nights later, she played another show at Hampshire College, and then she spent the night at my house, and we like just stayed up all night talking about like, you know, being an aspiring musician or whatever. And yeah, ever since then, it's been a joy to watch her like just catapult into success, because like when I first heard her music, I felt like it changed something in me, and it makes sense that so many other people feel so affected by it.
Yeah.
Well, talking about, I guess, the early days, when you would go to concerts or you'd be listening to music, would you think like that's where I need to be, where I want to be, seeing those people up on stage? Or was that just something that was within you, or did it happen differently?
Something that people did in Western Mass. Like, yeah, I just, at least to my friends, all played music and went to shows like regularly, and, you know, like basement shows or small bar shows. Yeah, I just feel like it was like a natural part of the like social aspect of growing up.
For me, I grew up as a teenager in Albany, New York. That's where I lived before I moved to Massachusetts for college. And I grew up going to punk shows in a very male-dominated scene where not a lot of women were in bands. And I like had a boyfriend who was in a popular punk band, and he like skipped his high school graduation because he was on tour. And I thought that was so cool. And it was so like unfathomable to me to like think about how you could just like start this like stupid punk band, get to tour the country, put out records, and like people, you know, and you could just live like that. Like I couldn't believe it. And it's something I had really wanted for myself, actually. And then I went to college, and I was like very much occupied with being a student. And then it wasn't till towards the very end of college, like my senior year, that I actually bought my first bass from my first boyfriend, that punk boyfriend who skipped his high school graduation to tour. I bought my first bass from his little brother, and then I started teaching myself Ramones songs, and then when I graduated college, I had more time, and that's when I joined my first band, and then Potty Mouth formed shortly after that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can't even imagine imagining myself back in high school touring at that age. I would have lost it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, now, well, touching on, you mentioned the Ramones. I know that in other interviews you've talked about like the Go-Go's a lot, of course, but are there any, in terms of influences, are there any other bands maybe that you feel like you hold really close that maybe aren't touched on in terms of having helped bring the Potty Mouth sound out?
Veruca Salt is definitely one, but we talk about them a lot too. But yeah, I just remember being in high school and Ally showing me Veruca Salt, or like had a song on a playlist or something, and then listening to like the first two albums, especially 8 Arms to Hold You, my mind was like blown. I was like, whoa, like this is the kind of music like that I was had like a concept of in my head, but I didn't know already existed. And it was like, so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Ally?
That have music that shape Potty Mouth sound.
Yeah. And I mean, another question would just be like, what are some groups that you've been listening to even in like quarantine, isolation, but whichever you would prefer.
I'm like I've been super into like psychedelic, more like 60s and late 60s, early 70s psychedelic rock, and like some psychedelic folk rock. I love old music. As like a person, as a present day music person, like I think it's important to support new art and new music, like current music, but I just love music so much because I love thinking about like the first time like a certain like sound has been done, and like how things were just so, I don't know, like you didn't have the internet and the recording process, things were just more simpler times. Yeah.
Really so, yeah.
So I've been listening to that kind of stuff, and that's why I'm so excited to start jamming with Abby and Victoria once we get the practice space all set up, because I feel like excited to see what kinds of ideas we come up with after 6 months in this pandemic and
oh my gosh,
changing our brains.
Yeah. Well, now, I mean, aside from the not having practiced really, what has it been like with COVID having hit? Like I can't imagine it's the best thing having happened to you and the music industry, but like, what's it been like having to kind of scramble with the tour being canceled and all of that? What's the mentality been like?
I was going to say, like Abby said earlier, that she's actually appreciated this forced break in some ways. And I definitely feel the same. I mean, when you are a working band or artist like we are, and you, it's like you're kind of on this hamster wheel of expectation of just
it's like
continuing,
you're recording, and writing songs, and then you're putting out an album and you're promoting it and making music videos and doing the album cycle, and then you go on tour, and then you come back and you have to make a new album, and
there's no natural break to it. You could just keep going and going because there's this emphasis on, especially, I mean, and so much of that has to do with the like just general economic climate of music nowadays, where you like it really is only possible to make money through touring and like licensing opportunities, which are hard to get. And so there's this emphasis on this like sort of capitalist productivity where you just, in order to be worth something, you need to constantly keep producing new content, new art, new music, and it feels never ending. And I think that we've all sort of needed this forced break. It's been bittersweet because obviously like we were devastated to lose our tours, especially our first tour to the UK, our first tour overseas. Like we were so sad. But one beautiful thing that's come out of that loss is, so once that tour was canceled, the bands that we were supposed to do that tour with, Milk Teeth and Koji, we all started getting together on Zoom every week. And the group has now evolved a little bit. It's members of Potty Mouth, Koji, and Nervous. But we're all scattered either around the US or Nervous or over in the UK. And we've been Zooming every week, every Sunday for the past like 20 weeks. And it's been so amazing to have this support group of like-minded musicians who are all being affected by this similarly.
And it's like, it's crazy that we, you know, we're not in the same place. We've never even met some of these people in person, but we still have so much fun just on Zoom that like we, you know, we have like genuine friendships now.
Yeah. It's been like an imaginary tour in a lot of ways. Like our Zoom chat is like the equivalent to being in the van together, and like you can just imagine what the tour would be like and all the dynamics. And I feel so close to all of them, and we've never met in person. But that's been a very exciting thing. And there's actually going to be like more about our collaboration with that group coming out in the next month. We're going to be doing some like special stuff with them, so that is exciting.
Yeah. Well, with that, what about like in terms of having had the tours canceled? What about how's it been like connecting with fans? Has it been like entirely through social media or doing a podcast? But like, has it changed?
We've gone AWOL. No, is that what I mean? Or I guess MIA. Yeah, no, we have just not been posting on social media, really. Like, we post informational stuff on our stories, but we just, like, it's not like there's anything to promote right now, so it would just feel fake anyway to post pictures and be like, look at me, I feel like this. So it's nice to not, like, feel the pressure to do that. So we're just, like, letting it rest right now and not worrying about it, which is like, so much healthier, I think.
But that said, we have amazing fans, and like the fans who have wanted to stay engaged with us. I mean, there are fans that I message with on Instagram all the time, and like we have some amazing fans who like, so a few months, I don't know, it's hard to know exactly when it happened because our van had just been sitting parked unused in the same spot for like months because we weren't touring. But at some point during quarantine, the catalytic converter on our van was stolen, and we posted about it. And like we didn't even we weren't asking or expecting anyone give us anything, but people started sending us some money, and it was so nice. Wow. And it's just, people have still been buying merch, which has been super helpful. Like, that is like the easiest way you can support your favorite bands right now is buy their merch. You know, they can't bring it with them on the road. So like, I know I have all the Potty Mouth merch at my house. I just sent out some stuff today. I've also been writing people little notes because I feel just extra appreciative of the support during this time. And with, also just with everything happening with USPS, like, I don't know, it just, mail feels a little bit more important and meaningful. And so, we also just because we bought all this merch to take on tour with us, and then the tours were canceled. So we have a lot of stuff right now.
Yeah. Well, I think that's so great doing that, like those personal messages, because that can, like, especially for a fan, that can make their day, their year. You know,
totally.
And we would be nothing without people who listen to our music. So,
even away from music and being in COVID, what have y'all been doing otherwise to stay sane? Like, I mean, we do the Film Buds podcast as well. Have there been any movies, TV shows, maybe books?
Yeah, a lot of TV. I was never really a big TV person, so having this time to like watch shows that I, haven't watched since like middle school, or watch shows that I've never seen before. And my roommate, Devin, she's never seen Twin Peaks, so we just started Twin Peaks. And I haven't watched that since high school, so that's been a trip to revisit. I was doing some embroidery for a little while, like a hobby that I took up. But yeah, I still do it. I'm working on a pair of pants for my friend Natalie.
Right on.
Yeah, those are just some activities that I've been doing.
Yeah.
I have been obsessively researching the history of my house.
Interesting.
The house that I just moved into was built in 1906, so it's got 114 years worth of history to it, and it's just I'm just a dork. Like, I love learning, and I love being a little armchair investigator. And I got a subscription to this like newspapers.com where you can like basically find, you know, these digitally archived copies of like any newspaper you want dating back to like, you know, 100 plus years ago. So it's been super fascinating.
Dorky.
And
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm actually thinking about making a podcast where I talk about it.
Yeah, you should.
I think that it would be at least interesting for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, if I can help out, just let me know. All right. I mean, no pressure there.
I'll hit you up with some questions.
Yeah, please do. What about, I'm trying to think if there's anything else within the pandemic, like any other thoughts within that? Like, has anything else changed? And if I don't mean to repeat answers or anything, but anything else that comes to mind in terms of even just personally, mentally, or have we about covered it?
Abby, you've gone through some changes. Yeah, I don't know if you'd want to talk about that.
What's that supposed to mean?
You don't have to.
Yeah, I became a stoner.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, this is the time.
Yeah, exactly. And I was only like a social smoker before this, and now I'm like full on like ripping the bong. So,
yeah. Well, hey, go for it.
Yeah. What else?
You got some tattoos?
Yeah, I got I got
one tattoo.
I got this tattoo. It's like
sweet
red rose.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been eating the same smoothie every single day for all of quarantine.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that.
So
I mean, Abby and I have both been lucky enough to be getting unemployment, and so we've had a lot of free time, which has been great. And I mean, there have been so many like parts to this the last 6 months.
So many phases.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about how like the first big protest that happened in LA after George Floyd was murdered, Abby and I went to that together, and it was like, so it was late May, and it was like the first time either of us had been like out of our houses around that many people since the beginning of the pandemic, and it was so surreal.
Yeah, it was like overwhelming.
Yeah,
to go from like being shut in and like terrified to cross paths with anyone to all of a sudden being like packed in like a public park with of people.
Yeah. It was very bizarre. But
it was really powerful.
Yeah, it was really powerful. And then after that, we kind of just we've gone to a bunch of different protests and actions together, trying to stay politically engaged.
Yeah.
And
it's hard not to feel existential.
Oh, yeah. I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been like, I feel like every time we go to a protest or, you know, even like our Zoom group that we've been doing each week is like, we talk about a lot of politics, and it's always like energizing and like brings me out of that existential spiral and makes me realize like, okay, like now I need to like think, you know, closer to home. Like I need to stop worrying about the Illuminati and
okay, nice. I like it.
You know, I need to stop worrying about how they're just rich people who are like controlling the world.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, work on some local stuff.
Yeah, no, that's the point. I felt grounded in that way yesterday when I went to a Black Lives Matter meeting in Pasadena for it was like 12 days ago. Anthony McLean was murdered by Pasadena police. And I don't know, I sort of feel like obviously there's just so much happening all the time. And I just feel like within the larger realm of what's being talked about right now, I don't think there's been a lot of attention around Anthony McLean's case. And
right.
And then when I went to the meeting yesterday and saw how this is most of the people there were people from the neighborhood. Like, this is a local issue, and we need to be there as a community, putting pressure on the Pasadena Police Department there's a lot going on with the investigation, but just when you become aware of how how localized things are, I think that's a good place to put your energy.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I mean, it's been the kind of the same thing here. Like, it sounds, almost cheesy to say, but if the mass is not going to take action, not much is going to get done. It's just going to, repeat itself consistently. Yeah. And so I think that's great that y'all are doing that on your side as well, because there's kind of similar things happening in North Carolina, and we have those same groups of people coming together who may not have otherwise. Yeah, and you don't know what difference it'll make, your presence being there. Exactly. You're showing up, and if there is a possibility of you needing to, intervene or just be present,
be a shield.
Yeah, be a shield.
Especially as white people.
Yeah. Yeah, at least you're there, and you're putting your privilege to work. Right. Yeah. Not at all a good segue here. I think that's amazing that y'all are doing that. I'm never good with transitions. I apologize. Talking more about Potty Mouth, even with music videos, y'all have done some really awesome music videos, and they feel very unique. Does it feel weird doing them? Does it feel weird being on camera or helping get them together, or is it natural? I guess it depends on the director and the crew. We've done most of our music videos we've done with friends, or we've become friends with the directors through the process of it. Sometimes want to go into that's how it goes.
But let me ask you, what's your favorite Potty Mouth music video?
Yeah. Oh. I like 22 a lot.
No, it's fun. It's a fun one.
Yeah. The Starry Eyes is great as well.
Oh, cute.
Yes, that was so
My cats are in that. My boy.
I know. I remember seeing that. I remember having heard your music, having not seen any of the music videos, and seeing videos like 22, Starry Eyes, and others. I was like, this is where I need to be. These people know. Because sometimes I'm self-conscious about our music videos.
I mean, that's just fucking music videos. They're always just random. One fun fact about 22 music video is Carmel the snake, that snake that I'm holding in it. She was pregnant at the time. No one knew she was pregnant. Her owners who came up from San Diego to let us borrow her, they didn't know she was pregnant. And then afterwards she laid her hatch, or what do they call them? Whatever. She hatched her eggs, and they named one of the babies Ally after me.
Aw, cute.
Because I handled her while she was pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ally's yeah.
And that was my first time handling a snake too.
I don't think I've ever done that. How was it?
It was once I realized it wasn't scary, it was kind of soothing, because she would just slither wherever she wanted, and it was just
they're very slow.
Yeah, it's almost like a weird little massage.
Yeah, true.
Well, besides snakes, are y'all animal people?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Big time?
Yeah. I have an axolotl.
Abby's first pet as an independent adult.
Yeah, my first pet out in California. Um, yeah, my roommate Jade, it was originally hers, but then she didn't want it or she still loves her, but she took care of it because you have to like cut up worms to feed to them.
Oh.
That like upset Jade too much, so so she was like, "Do you want this?" And I was like, "Yes, definitely. I've always wanted one of these since I was a small child."
Of course.
Yeah, so now I have an axolotl in my room. Her name is Shippo. The other day, I bought some fish to go in the tank with her. She eats like anything that's in the tank. But I bought some little like guppies and algae eaters, and one of the algae eater fish, she tried to eat it, and it like went into her mouth at a weird angle and started like coming out through her gill on the side, and she was like trying to get it out, and it looked so uncomfortable, and so I'm trying to do like little axolotl surgery by like I like fed her a big piece of worm so that it filled up her mouth and started pushing the fish through her gill. And then I used these really long tweezers to pull it out through the side of her gill. So yeah, I'm a classified surgeon now.
Clearly, yeah, I would trust you. Well, that's unexpected, but that's amazing. You know, I never. So I have one dog she's starting to get older, and so she's very mostly just sleeps, but then
we
actually are not sure. We've had her since she was like a puppy, but she's like I guess I can't do a little yay high thing, but like she's like medium sized, and I can send you all a picture, or if I don't have one around, I don't know. But yeah, I guess she's about 13 now, but
okay.
But yeah, but still going strong. So that's the way to go.
Yeah, Ally's 2 cats are somewhere around here.
One is under the couch.
Oh.
The black one. The orange one's downstairs. But yeah, I have 2 cats. I've had them since they were newborns. They moved with me from Massachusetts to here he is, to LA. Here he is. His name's Kaida and Schaefer.
Oh, I see the tail. Oh, there we go. Oh, so cute.
My LB little black cat.
Yeah. I mean, not that they weren't before, but within the pandemic, like if I didn't have my dog, I would have gone insane. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and now my pets are just used to me being around all the time, so they're even more attached to me. It's so cute. Like, we go to bed and wake up at the same time. Like, it's amazing. I feel like I just live with my own little family. Like, and like now, like the room I live in is bigger, and like I have all their stuff in here, like their litter and their food. So it's sort of just like our own space, and yeah, I just love it. Like they know when it's time to go to bed. They know when it's time to wake up.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
My roommate Devin has a little dog named Milkshake, and I definitely would be going insane if Milkshake wasn't around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I don't want to keep y'all too long. Anything else that I haven't asked that y'all, something maybe about Potty Mouth that you'd like to be known, or just general conversation, because I enjoy talking to you. But
we're the funnest band to go on tour with.
Yeah, the rumors are true.
Well, what about with touring? Any best of moments within that?
Of all 10 years.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know. Like, opening for the Go-Go's was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Definitely last summer we played 3 different girls rock camps while we were on tour.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Like, so beautiful because they were like ecstatic to watch us play. Like anytime we did any kind of like hair flip or like move, they would scream.
And
it was like the best feeling ever. It just, that like made me so happy.
Yeah, no, those were like the best shows we've ever played. Were for the girls' rock camps. Like,
I bet.
yeah, I never felt more like a rock star as we did when we played for them.
Yeah, I can't like that's something like I think that could just speak so much to people that age, and it could just give such inspiration and connection. So I think that's so awesome. Y'all were able to do that.
Yeah, we definitely should be playing all ages shows from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck bar shows.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Actually, we're after this, we're going to be helping out Colleen Green. She's doing a live stream on our porch, and we are going to be singing backup vocals on one of her songs.
Ooh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I wish I had more coming to mind. I guess, is there anything else? I know I already asked this, but is there anything else y'all want to mention? Anything?
We're still a band.
Thank God.
We're still going to do that tour with Eve 6.
Yeah. Playing Ant Farm.
Yeah, it's just a matter of when the hell that can happen. But
yeah, we're still a band. We're still like, planning to tour and release more music. And we actually did record some songs like right before COVID started. So yeah, we actually do have some new stuff.
We have new stuff that's coming out.
Yeah. So yeah, we're playing it cool right now.
Hey, that's cool. That's the way to be right now.
Yeah, we haven't even interviewed like this in a while.
Yeah.
So consider yourself lucky.
I do. So I'm so thankful. So thankful.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, okay, y'all. Well, I guess that about does it. I would love to keep talking, but y'all got stuff to do.
Allie's phone is about to die.
My phone is at 5%.
Yeah.
Then perfect timing. As I said before, y'all, you are the best. Thank you so much.
No, you're the best.
Thank you.
We can always do a follow-up for the Film Buds.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Please.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Tell Victoria she's great. She's an amazing drummer. I love her. And yeah, it's y'all, your music has done so much for me. And I just want to say thank you personally. It's just helped me through the good times, and it's made happier times happier. So I appreciate the music that you do.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
That's what we aspire to do. Our music is supposed to be really like fun and, just like silly.
Yeah.
And like emotional.
Of course. Well, mission accomplished there. Okay. Well, great. I think that about does it. To everybody listening, I really hope you liked it. And please, subscribe and rate, all that good stuff. Hopefully Chloe will be back sometime soon.
Can I just plug our merch store?
Please. No, please do. Yeah.
pottymouth.bigcartel, BIGCARTEL.com.
Okay. And I can put that in the show notes and on the website. So
awesome.
A little extra.
Cool. Thank you.
Of course.
Buy something, I will write you a note.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, I'm going to more than I have already. Yeah, I have one of the tie-dye tees.
Do you have a pillowcase?
I don't have a pillowcase. I think that's next on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll pick out a good one for you.
Please do. Thank you. All right. Well, as always, we hope everybody enjoyed it as much as we did. I hope. And
this was an interview.
Awesome. And I guess we will see y'all next time.
For the Film Buds.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Happy birthday!